Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today? My name is Jimmy Baron Aguilar, and I am starting a new channel to really have the focus and intention of bringing together designers to learn about research methods and why that might benefit their companies or their workplace. Or even your personal life. This could help you organize maybe your own business or a business that you hope to open up soon. One of the first analysis technique that I learned is a research method called the A/B testing infographics method. And an example of that is eBay. What they wanted to do is test their hypothesis of users don't want to scroll on their mouse or trackpad, or what else can you scroll on your phone? They don't want to scroll too much on the phone. They want to see a lot of items right away, and they also don't want to have to go through the different pages and paginate onto the next page and the next to find what they might be looking for. In this example, a pair of wireless Bluetooth headphones. And so the theory in play was that if they put smaller image test items and text, they would have more conversions and sales. But they had test B that was a larger image test, and that actually outperformed the smaller image text. So their hypothesis was therefore wrong. So, what does that teach us about design and user behavior? It's if something worked in the past before in terms of e-commerce, it doesn't mean it's going to work in the future as the demographics and the use cases of people using these apps are changing. The next concept is more of a synthesis, an analysis technique. And this might be used as a framework when a researcher is attending to, documenting, and coding information under a guiding taxonomy of activities, environment, interactions, objects, and users. So, one example that's really simple for me that I've worked in food and I still do with my mom is how do people go about the activity of ordering food? Well, sometimes the environment is that it's in the evening. Sometimes they want to sit outside, inside. Sometimes it's crowded. Sometimes they're at a stadium with lights and there's, once again, too many people. And that could be a lot on some people, especially if they had a long day. And it's important to be mindful of that and remember that for teams that might be hosting people or restaurants that are trying to be hospitable. The I component of this is that maybe the cashier gives you a receipt to a worker. The worker prepares the food, such as at Jimmy John's. Not saying Jimmy John's just because that's my name. The cashier calls out the order number or name, and the food gets transferred to the customer, and the customer pays the cashier. Or maybe they already did that because they did online payment. And while that's all happening, people are talking online, just to let the time pass by. And then the next component of this is the object. How are they? What building blocks are they using to get through this set of actions? So a lot of the time it's cash, more than now card payments, and some people don't even have cards anymore. They just keep their money online, somewhere such as SoFi Bank that doesn't have a physical presence. And who are the users? That's important to always keep at the forefront. What are their behaviors, their preferences, their needs? Is that being observed? And what are the roles and relationships that they have to each other and to the place that they're going to? And what are their values and their biases? So that's really important to dig into. Last but not least, I want to discuss a little bit of affinity diagramming, and that's also another analysis technique and a way to synthesize information. For this one, I won't really need a book or the example because I actually did one of these not too far ago. And this was pertaining an app that I was mocking up called Expert Documentation. And it would be an app where users could go online onto their mobile phone or primarily their desktop because they have to fill out a lot of forms. And they would be looking ways to either renew their DACA, renew their green card, or become naturalized citizens. So throughout this, we had a couple things come out, and I categorized them by color, depending on who the user was. And so just asking them questions about their routines, what type of services they think are helpful online versus not online, what frustrates them when going through an app or through the web and doing this type of specific search. Um, and also asking them about college and their education and how that informs their use of technology, and also who's the big influencer in their family and who makes like buying decisions or their where are they going to put their money. 'Cause that's also important, especially knowing that the cost of renewing paperwork is really expensive. Asking them if a checklist would be helpful to have in order for them to know what they actually have to bring for every specific case, and asking them where do they usually keep their papers. Is it online, in hard copies, or both? So there's a lot of questions that you can ask to really dig deep into what are their pain points and what things do they need the most help with in assistance. Um, so, for example, green notes could signify overarching themes and an area of concern when they're trying to go through this process and paperwork. The other color, maybe like a pink color, could describe what specific issues within an area of a concern they have. So, for example, one of them could be like, what type of checklist do you need? And do you need to know also where to send the money to and how much do you have to make the money order for? That would be something very helpful in terms of renewing documentation status in the US. Blue notes could describe aspects of an issue revealed by clusters of yellow notes that we'll get into. So they could be like major themes and topics. The yellow notes could represent a single observation, insight, or concern, or requirement firmly rooted in the research. So when doing these user interviews, these are the building blocks of the affinity diagram. So you could do at least like 100 notes per one person per day. And that would give you a really good idea as to what are things that really confuse people that are trying to renew their statuses in the US. And what are things that they can handle easily. And that would just inform how you would develop this application. Thank you. And feel free to subscribe to the new YouTube channel.